Good evening. Despite a brief reprieve, drivers are buckling up for another rise in gas prices tonight.
Analysts expect the average price could be nearing $1.60 per liter by the morning, and that price is likely to keep climbing. CTV Sean Leathong has been speaking with drivers and joins us live tonight with reaction. Sean.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, the price of gas has been on a wild ride since the end of February. You can see behind me many drivers here filling up while they can because they know it's going up.
At this Costco gas station in Etobicoke, it's a little cheaper to fill up, but the recent run-up in prices has these pumps busy and customers feeling
not too good. It'd be nice to be able to keep that, that extra little bit of money in your pocket right now.
Right now in the GTA, the average liter is about $1.50, and that's actually down 8 cents from yesterday. Tomorrow, the price is expected to go up another 6 cents and continue from there.
1 minute is down 8 cents, but at least we know that the next day is going up 6 cents or 8 cents. So it's like today, then we can scramble and at least fill our tanks.
Drivers like Darren Clark say the volatile price of oil created by war in the Middle East are making further price increases seem inevitable.
I can tell you as this war goes on and what have you, this will be up to 178, 175. Easy.
I do worry that this could go along. The longer it goes on, I worry that it gets worse.
We have a serious, volatile situation in our hands that we need a quick solution to.
Matt McLean from GasBuddy.com says as the key shipping route through the Strait of Hormuz remains closed off, 20% of the world's oil is being held hostage and prices will only go up.
We need that Strait of Hormuz to reopen, and we need it to reopen now.
McLean says that strategic oil reserves are coming online, but it's hard to predict prices when there's no end in sight to the conflict. While at the pumps, some drivers say price increases seem a little too immediate.
It going up so quickly is kind of interesting, right? Like, how can it affect fuel that's already been made already?
I don't like it at all. I'm honestly very worried for weeks now, and I don't see it coming to an end, and I really, really hope it will.
And this comes as the spring and summer driving season will soon start.
So when we transition into the spring and summer driving season, we transition to a different type of fuel. It typically burns cleaner, but it's also a few cents more expensive. So you add that on top to the uncertainty in the oil market, it only creates a bad look for prices. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan and Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Also tonight, Pearson prepares for the GTA's March break exodus as industry analysts warn of higher jet fuel prices and rising fares in the months ahead. But first, Toronto police say they're prepared for a rally that's expected to take over a portion of the city's core this weekend.
The site of the Al-Quds rally, the same location from where shots were fired into the U.S. consulate earlier this week. CTV's Janice Goulding is live tonight on University with more. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, Toronto police say they will be out in full force here at the U.S. consulate this Saturday. They are going to be restricting anything from being in the airspace above and around the U.S. consulate. They'll also have uniformed and plainclothes officers on the ground monitoring for hate speech and violence.
Stop bombing Yemen now!
The UK's Home Secretary cancelled London's Al-Quds Day march over concerns about public disorder. But despite heightened geopolitical tensions, Toronto's annual event will still take place as scheduled this Saturday.
There is a different legislative framework in the United Kingdom versus here. In Canada, people have the right to assemble and to express their opinions.
In social media posts about this weekend's demonstration, the Palestinian Youth Movement calls the event an annual walk for Palestine, with demonstrators uniting, quote, in protest against the U.S.-Israeli expansion of the genocide in Gaza into an all-out regional war. The protest to take place outside the U.S. consulate, which was the target of gunmen earlier this week. It also follows shootings at 3 GTA synagogues.
Well, we're very concerned, obviously, given recent events. However, I'm very confident in the plan that we've developed for Saturday's event.
Al-Quds Day was established in 1979 following the Iranian Revolution. Critics have called the rallies anti-Semitic. With demonstrations slated to take place in 4 Canadian cities this weekend, Ontario Solicitor General Michael Kersner issued a statement saying, these displays of hatred are unacceptable. They spread fear, target Jewish communities, and undermine the values of respect, tolerance, and safety that define our province. Any display of anti-Semitism, intimidation, or the glorification of terrorist groups and their violence is unacceptable and will not be tolerated in Ontario.
There are concerns about the potential for hateful rhetoric as well as the possibility of confrontation between individuals or groups with opposing views. I want to be clear. The Toronto Police Service take all reports of hate very seriously.
When asked about London's decision to cancel a planned Al-Quds Day march, a spokesman for Toronto said, unlike other organized events, the city does not issue permits for demonstrations on publicly accessible city property. Examples of demonstrations include, but are not limited to, protests, rallies, and vigils. Al-Quds Day rallies are expected to take place in Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, and Vancouver. Toronto's protest is expected to have upwards of 3,000 people, with counter-protesters also expected to make an appearance. Reporting live from Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle.
Thank you, Janice. And police have just confirmed the suspect vehicle in Tuesday morning's shooting at the U.S. consulate has been recovered. Investigators were searching for a white Honda CR-V seen stopping outside of the consulate before two suspects exited the SUV and fired a handgun into the building. Police say the vehicle was recovered in the city hours after the incident. Police have not arrested the two suspects connected to the shooting.
We have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city. Not a bad day, but tomorrow things are going to be different. We're expecting rain and or snow, maybe both. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison, who is...
Hi, Nathan. We are live here in Aurora tonight. Check out this amazing crowd, and something special is happening here. It is the polar plunge. We see some polar bear jumpers. Let's wave to them. Okay, take it away. 3, 2, 1, go! Nathan and Michelle, this is all in support of Special Olympics. It's a great event put on by York Regional Police, and it's chilly out here today, so this is, I'd say, perfect for the event condition-wise. Let's take a look at where things stand right now. Temperature-wise, it's chilly in Toronto. It's even colder north here in Aurora at this hour. It feels like -7 once you take the winds into consideration, and those winds have been quite gusty today. Right now, gusting upwards of 50 kilometers per hour. Evening tonight, temperature near 0, but overnight we dip to around -6 degrees for a low. We've already had some flurries on the satellite and radar, but that is nothing compared to what's coming tomorrow. See that system well off to the west? That's a clipper that's expected to bring us approximately 5 to maybe even 10 centimeters of snow through tomorrow, but it's a little complicated too. We could get some mixing in there as well. You know what's not complicated? Jumping in cold water for a good cause. Again, we are live here in Aurora today. Check out these brave souls out here. Here they go. Amazing to see the athletes, amazing to see the folks supporting the athletes too, Nathan and Michelle. Lots more to come live here from Aurora. I might even test out the water myself. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. What do you think?
Right,
I'll send it back to you.
If you're brave enough, go for it.
Ooh, I think that'd be fun to watch.
Well, if you're planning to escape this weather, you're not alone. We're entering the start of one of the busiest travel seasons of the year.
Officials at Pearson Airport say they expect more than 1.7 million passengers to pass through this March break. CTV's John Musselman is live at Pearson tonight with more. John.
Hi, Michelle. We're just outside Terminal 1, the airfield in behind me. It's been a very busy day here as people get ready to enjoy that week off. It's one of the busiest travel weeks of the year, and people are heading just about everywhere.
Japan.
Going to Vancouver.
Orlando, Florida.
Punta Cana.
France and Italy.
Officials at Pearson say they expect to see more than 1.7 million passengers during March break, with peak travel days reaching up to 163,000 travelers. People are being advised to be mindful of how they pack and get to the airport in plenty of time.
Arriving 2 hours before a domestic flight, 3 hours before an international flight, it gives you time to park, get through security, get past security, and we have a number of activities over March break as well, because this is the time of year where a lot of families are traveling. There's a lot of young kids, so we have things like a magician in the terminal, we have live music, we have in Terminal 1 a family movie lounge. So these are some of the things that we put in place so that people can really enjoy and relax and start their vacation when they get to the airport, and giving yourself enough time before your flight, just make sure that that process is seamless.
The liquids aerosol gel restrictions are still in place. You want to make sure all your containers are 100 ml or below, and they are packed in a clear 1-liter plastic bag. Anything over that, it's a good idea that you want to check them in your checked luggage.
Most passengers we talked to today say it's been a long winter and they're looking forward to some warm air, relaxing time at the beach or sitting by a pool.
We're heading to Orlando, Florida, to Universal Studios.
I'm very excited. I'm happy to get out of this cold weather. I'm tired of blowing the snow. We live in Barrie.
We're going to Cancun.
We are going to Vietnam.
Wow.
Yes,
exciting.
yeah.
How long has this been in the works?
We've been planning this since last year, actually.
Relaxing from work, hanging out with family, obviously, playing with my kids, sightseeing, all of the above, yeah, and the food, of course.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are traditionally the busiest days at Pearson leading into the March break. And if you are heading out this March break, again, the advice is to check with your airline, make sure everything's on time and on schedule. Reporting live outside Terminal 1, I'm John Muspin. I'll send it back to you.
John. Still ahead, Niagara's regional chair resigns amid allegations he owns a signed copy of Hitler's manifesto, the controversy, and what his sudden departure means for the region. A 26-year-old man has been arrested in connection with a stabbing early this morning. Police called to a home in the area of Glendora Avenue and Burnwell Street shortly after 3:30 a.m. When they arrived, they found a man and 2 women with non-life-threatening injuries. They were taken to hospital in stable condition. The suspect was located a short time later and arrested. He is charged with 3 counts each of assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm. Police say the suspect and victims are all members of the same family. Police are also investigating after shots were fired in North York. Officers responded to the area of Finch Avenue and Chesswood Drive around 3 p.m. Police say evidence of gunfire was found in an outdoor area, but no injuries have been reported and no damage has been located. No suspect description has been released at this stage.
Halton Regional Police have charged a 22-year-old man with attempted murder, and both Halton Police and the province's SIU are investigating. Around 12:30 a.m. on Sunday, Halton Police conducted a traffic stop in the parking lot of the Crestwood Motel in Burlington. Police say the man behind the wheel drove towards them. He was shot several times by an officer. 23-year-old Sebastian Barb was taken to hospital in stable condition. He's since been released and charged with attempted murder, dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, and possession of a controlled substance. The SIU investigation into the police use of force is ongoing. The provincially appointed chair of Niagara region has resigned.
It comes after allegations surfaced that he owned a copy of Mein Kampf signed by Adolf Hitler. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports.
I wish I could bend that low.
2 weeks ago, the Niagara regional chair was alongside the premier at a hospital construction event. Now, Bob Gale has resigned less than 3 months after being appointed by the provincial government.
To purchase for thousands of dollars an original signed copy of Hitler's manifesto, and then going further out of your way to authenticate that Hitler's signature is in fact Hitler's signature is a problem.
The revelation from an anti-racism group who'd been contacted by a whistleblower. The concern is over a book that
not only caused a lot of harm with the genocide of Jews in World War II, but it's caused ongoing harm. There are at least 3 white supremacist organizations in Niagara who've been rallying, trying to intimidate people.
Gale doesn't deny owning a signed copy of Mein Kampf, nor does he apologize for it, calling himself a passionate historian. He believes this is really about his efforts to amalgamate Niagara's 12 municipalities and cut down its number of elected officials, writing about a strong vocal minority trying to keep their fiefdoms, addiction to power and tax dollars, while painting what he calls a picture that's untrue and hurtful.
I have no fiefdom to protect.
The mayor of Niagara Falls also sees this as opportunism for Gale's critics.
When he called me last night, it felt like a punch to the gut.
Diodati says Gale isn't hateful, just a collector.
A lot of people collect a lot of things. Some people collect weird things. I mean, people go watch movies about Jeffrey Dahmer or Paul Bernardo. Why do we make movies about things like that?
He believes Gale's departure will slow the conversation about how Niagara is governed, but not for long.
If we don't do something now, we're doomed
The premier is frustrated by the number of politicians in Niagara, more than there are at Queen's Park.
I think people are sick and tired of, over a term, double-digit tax increases.
This local MPP puts the blame at Doug Ford's feet.
This is his pick. It's a former PC candidate that presumably has been vetted through the PC party. And it's been nothing but a complete disaster.
The Office of the Minister of Municipal Affairs says it'll work to appoint a new chair and emphasizes that any changes to the governance of Niagara
has to be led by Niagara.
But that could be challenging.
I haven't spoken to anyone in Niagara who doesn't believe that change is necessary. I also haven't spoken to any two people who can agree on what that change should be.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The cost of rent in Toronto is continuing to drop. That's according to the latest report from rentals.ca and Urban Nation. It found that asking prices in the city averaged just below $2,500 a month in February. That's a more than 5% drop from the year before and nearly 20% of what the city's rental market saw in 2024. Looking across the country, monthly rent stood at just over $2,000 a month. That marked a year-over-year drop of 2.8%, although Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Atlantic Canada saw rents go up.
In Ottawa, the federal Liberals are making another attempt to pass a bill that would give law enforcement easier access to digital evidence as they carry out investigations.
CTV's Rachel Aiello has the details.
Today, the federal Liberals tabled new legislation proposing a new lawful access regime that would give law enforcement and federal security officials new powers.
This new legislation, Bill C-22, balances the needs of law enforcement with the privacy and civil rights that Canadians demand.
Bill C-22, if passed, would require telecommunications companies to provide basic information about suspected criminals. It would also allow Canadian police to make requests of major foreign social media and AI companies.
It is not about surveillance of Canadians going on about their daily lives. It is about keeping Canadians safe in the online space.
The government says police and CSIS officers need these new tools to keep up with advances in technology, increasingly sophisticated criminal behavior, and to remain aligned with other Five Eyes countries.
Lawful access currently is as important as forensics is.
Some of the key and critical components of this proposed legislation allow us to advance our investigations where previously there was no pathway forward.
The bill also proposes to revamp warrant powers for computer searches, impose monetary or regulatory penalties on companies that fail to comply, and grant the minister new powers to compel electronic service providers to develop capabilities.
30 years ago, every investigative room in this country had a phone book. The world has changed, and the home address now is an IP address, and the phone number is some mobile phone, a burner phone.
A previous version of this legislation was halted over blowback from civil liberty groups and opposition MPs, who said it was overly broad, intrusive, and risked infringing Canadians' privacy.
I think Canadians should always be concerned when the government is trying to get access to information that reveals private information about us. This version of the bill does a far better job of narrowing the type of information they can get and under what circumstances.
Senior government officials who brief reporters on the bill insisted this version includes robust safeguards and upholds charter protections. The minister responsible is now calling on the other parties to help pass it quickly. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
It's already been an entire year since U.S. President Donald Trump imposed punishing 25% tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, a figure that would later jump to 50%.
CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has a look at how exporters are faring as the trade war drags on.
Ottawa's Ambico Limited sells 75% of its steel doors to the United States, a country that 1 year ago implemented heavy tariffs that reshaped North American trade.
We've probably suffered in the vicinity of $500,000 of cash that we've had to pay unexpectedly. So that hurts.
Since the U.S. president initially slapped a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum products, costs have skyrocketed. Confidence from American customers has plummeted, and predictability, especially with CUSMA negotiations ongoing, has evaporated.
So we have a lot of variables that we build into our cost structure. Tariffs is a major concern if the CUSMA agreements fall by the wayside.
Ambico is lucky. Their manufactured products are CUSMA compliant and not subject to the Section 232 tariffs that are crushing primary steel producers like Ontario's Algoma Steel. Last quarter alone, Algoma Steel saw steel shipments drop 31% and reported a net loss of $364.7 million, driven largely by tariffs.
It's an illustrative example of the pain that the industry's been going through as we try to, unravel, if you will, 30 years of integration with the United States.
The industry is desperate for tariffs to be lifted and hopes ongoing CUSMA negotiations will do that. But today, the minister leading the review refused to take questions, and the industry minister offered no update.
What kind of update can you give us? When it comes to steel, our goal right now is to make sure that we help our steel workers. That's what we've been doing.
The association representing primary steel producers says it will take a long time to undo the damage caused by 1 year of steel tariffs. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
And as Canada looks for trading partners elsewhere than the U.S., Prime Minister Mark Carney is off to visit several European allies in the coming days. Following a stop in the Northwest Territories, he'll be headed to observe NATO military exercises in Norway. After meetings with fellow leaders there, he will also head to the U.K. before staying in Europe for what officials call personal commitments. Turning now to the escalating conflict between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. Iran's new supreme leader says his country will keep blocking tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz.
This comes as oil supply concerns deep and far beyond the Middle East. CTV's Heather Wright reports from Istanbul.
An oil tanker off the coast of Iraq bursts into flames, one of 2 vessels attacked overnight, prompting Iraqi officials to close its oil terminals. Iran has claimed responsibility for attacking one of the ships, saying it had disobeyed and ignored warnings. At least 1 person was killed and 37 others rescued. More than a dozen tankers and other vessels have been attacked since this war began nearly 2 weeks ago, with Iran's new supreme leader vowing more disruption in the future. The leverage of blocking the Strait of Hormuz must continue to be used, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei said in a statement that was read on Iranian state TV. He also vowed to avenge all Iranian deaths and open other fronts where the enemy is vulnerable. This is the first known public statement the Ayatollah has made since being named his father's successor on Monday, though he has still not been seen in public. His comments are expected to bring more uncertainty to oil markets, where prices have skyrocketed and concerns this conflict may drag on are growing.
Everyone is pushing their side. It's going to be over quickly, at least from the U.S. Military side of the house. But this is going to be a much longer game than people are realizing, especially if regime change is the ultimate goal.
In Lebanon, Hezbollah and Israel continue to trade fire overnight, with Iran's proxy firing dozens of rockets into northern Israel, while Israel retaliated with heavy bombardment of Beirut and its suburbs. The United Nations estimates as many as 800,000 people have been driven from their homes, many living in tents along Beirut's waterfront. Who is in these tents, this man asks. There are children, elderly people, women. There are fears this conflict will spread even further. Here in Turkey, the foreign minister Hakan Fidan hosted his German counterpart, both calling for an immediate end to this war, while also warning against inciting a civil war in Iran.
Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump said the United States Navy could be used to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz, something his energy secretary said today was not possible at this time. Heather Wright, CTV News, Istanbul.
As concerns around anti-Semitic violence soar on both sides of the border, police in Michigan say a suspect is dead after ramming a truck into a synagogue north of Detroit this afternoon.
A car came to the facility, breached the facility by driving into it, was engaged by security. We believe there is 1 individual deceased in the vehicle.
A security guard was injured, but police say nobody else was hurt in the incident at Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield Township. Smoke was seen billowing out of the building as the attack unfolded. Law enforcement officials told CNN there was also a large amount of explosives located in the suspect's vehicle. Similar sources told the Associated Press they were still working to identify the man and a specific motive, but he was fatally shot by security. U.S. President Donald Trump said he'd been briefed about the situation and he was sending love to Michigan's Jewish community.
NASA says its first crewed mission to the moon in more than half a century is prepared for takeoff next month.
We are on track for a launch as early as April 1st.
4 astronauts, including Canadian Jeremy Hansen, have been waiting to blast off in a rocket that faced issues during launch rehearsals. NASA describes the Artemis II mission as a crewed lunar flyby where astronauts will travel around the moon.
There are a few ways to visit New York City if you'd like to, but U.S. border officials helped deal with the recent unexpected stowaway from the U.K. The Bronx Zoo is currently taking care of this red fox, which was discovered on board a ship that had hailed from Southampton, England. Wildlife conservation experts say the animal was brought to them after his arrival in February. And while sometimes animals are trafficked across the ocean, they've confirmed the fox made his own way onto the vessel. They're now searching for a long-term home for the fox.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, new banking rules came into effect today, which should save Canadians hundreds of millions of dollars a year. There's now a cap on how much you have to pay for NSF fees if you're a bit short in your bank account. I'll have the details. That's just ahead.
We are taking the plunge for Special Olympics here tonight in Aurora. Say hi, everybody. What do you think, jumpers? Are you all set? 3, 2, 1. Go for it! Whoa, yeah. That is some cold water. Those guys are brave. Here's a look at what you can expect weather-wise as we head into the day tomorrow. It's going to be cold, but perhaps even more importantly, it's going to be snowy. So be mindful of this as you hit the roads. Here's how that system plays out. Snow beginning mid to late morning, continuing through the afternoon, tapering off, but then look what's coming over the weekend. Another snowy system for Sunday, and this one could give us some mixed precip as well. Lots more to come live from Aurora. We are doing the polar plunge with York Regional Police. Says lots more to come here live on CTV News. At 6, we'll be right back.
If you've ever paid a bill and were a bit short in your bank account, you could be hit with a non-sufficient funds charge, also known as an NSF fee.
New rules went into effect today to limit how much banks can charge customers if your account is running a little low. Here's Pat Foran with tonight's Consumer Alert.
I think that I'm not the only one that's dealing with this.
Elvira Townsend told CTV News she tries to pay her bills on time, but last year her bank balance dropped to minus $9, and she was charged an NSF fee of $48, putting her account $57 in arrears.
I know there's a lot of people struggling. I'm struggling, and that $48 is a lot.
Canada's major banks were able to charge $45 to $48 per NSF transaction, which allowed them to profit billions of dollars since the fees were first implemented. No more. Now there's a $10 cap on non-sufficient fund fees.
It will give a glimpse of hope to people.
Acorn Canada, a group that fights for low and moderate income people, says the changes will help, especially at a time when many Canadians are struggling to pay their bills.
With all these groceries going up and the rents that doesn't stop to increase, this is a win-win.
With the new regulations, consumers cannot be charged an NSF fee more than once in a period of 2 business days for the same account, and consumers will not be charged NSF fees when the shortfall on the account is less than $10. Capping NSF fees is considered a win for consumers, but some advocates say banks should be forced to do much more.
This is a small win, a small baby step by the federal government.
Duff Conacher with Democracy Watch worries banks will find a way to recoup the fees some other way. He says the next target for the government should be slashing credit card interest rates. Many cards have rates of 20 to 30%, which he calls price gouging.
Rates have not gone down when interest rates dropped. They automatically go up when interest rates go up. And it's just a big cash cow for the banks.
While capping NSF fees at $10 may be a good start, Acorn says Canadian banks should have to follow American banks. Many have eliminated NSF fees altogether.
That was from CTV's Pat Foran. Now, okay, decent conditions today, but nice enough for a dip?
if you're courageous enough to do this. So I give them all the credit in the world. And maybe yourself, Lindsay Morrison, you might take a dive as well.
I'm thinking about it, Nathan and Michelle. We'll see how this forecast goes, although it's very windy up here today. It's cold. At least we've got some sun. There is that. This is all for a great cause, though, so I think everyone's happy to take part for that reason alone. Again, this is a York Regional Police, a day that we're here for the Polar Plunge. I want to introduce you to Deputy Chief McCloskey. Tell us a little bit about what it means for York Regional Police to participate in a great community event like this.
York Regional Police has been proud for over 30 years to partner with Special Olympics Ontario to help raise really needed funds to extend the Special Olympics to the Games in the province and nationally as we are this summer. This is our 13th annual Polar Plunge, and we're so excited to be here.
We're excited to be here, too. I think the viewers are excited for what they've been seeing, too. Dan, I want to bring you in. You're a volunteer with Special Olympics Aurora. This must be so exciting to see everyone here in support.
It is. It's incredible to see everyone that came out and support such a great cause for us. And seeing the athletes out there is just amazing.
Yes, and there's a big event happening this summer, and that's what raising funds today is all about.
That's correct. We're going to send 300 athletes to Medicine Hat, Alberta, the second week of August. We have 11 athletes from York Region going to represent us, and they'll be in 10 sports, and we can't wait to go there and just cheer on our athletes and create some memories.
We will be cheering them on, and I think we're going to create some memories here today as well. But let's get to your weather forecast. We want to let you know about the snow that's coming tomorrow, but we will begin with a look at our current temperatures. It is 1 degree right now in the city of Toronto, but where I am in Aurora, it is -1, and it feels more like -8. -6 degrees is what we're forecasting for a low overnight tonight, so there is that. Partly cloudy skies, and then tomorrow we've got snow and we've got rain moving in, so prepare accordingly. +3 is what we're forecasting for a daytime high. That is a little below seasonal still, so be mindful also. And it's windy tonight. The winds are going to continue to pick up into the day tomorrow. Thank you very much. And as we take a look at what you can expect as far as the snow is concerned, Environment Canada just recently issuing a special weather statement, including for the city of Toronto, warning of anywhere from 5 to maybe 8 centimeters of snow, but areas north of here are going to see even more than that. So here's what the system looks like rolling through. A secondary system is going to impact us into the day on Sunday, and that one could bring snow, rain, maybe a bit of mixed precip as well. So here's a look at some of the snowfall totals that we are expecting. If we get some rain showers, which is possible, these numbers will be lessened. Here's what it looks like on the forecast radar. So some snow beginning mid-morning, continuing into the afternoon, late afternoon. There's the changeover to some rain, and then we clear out. It's a pretty nice day for Saturday. Sunday is when we're going to have the next round of snow or rain, maybe some freezing rain, maybe some ice pellets. Here's a look at what it looks like on the 7-day forecast. Next week is going to be a little chilly after a mild day on Monday. Now, guys, I'm just letting you know I have officially gotten rid of my earpiece here and my microphone.
No.
Thank you so much. I think it's time, and not just me, but I've got Special Olympian Amy who's going to take the plunge with me. Are we ready? Okay.
We're ready.
Now I'm scared. Oh, she's brave.
Oh, my goodness. You really took the plunge. Way to go, Lindsay. All in.
Yeah, Lindsay.
Thank you. Okay. That was fun. They are amazing. Happy to support them. Go Special Olympics. Amy, you're amazing. How did that go? Not good. Not good. Maybe that's what I should have said. Nathan and Michelle, back inside to you. I'm going to go find a towel.
Yeah, get a towel and try to get warm. She doesn't even seem cold out there.
She's managing well. I can't believe she could string a sentence together. Yay. And she has another hit later.
Great job.
Yay, Lindsay.
All right, also tonight, increasing pedal power. Bike Share plans to add hundreds of new bikes and charging stations to meet ridership demand. Details coming up.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
It's called ethnodermatology, a branch of medicine that focuses on various skin types and tones.
And thanks to a $3 million donation at U of T, there's a new commitment to ensure patients' care reflects everyone. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has more.
It's a distinction that medical textbooks used to ignore, the different presentation of dermatological symptoms in white skin versus highly pigmented skin, and that affects the speed of diagnosis.
If you don't recognize it on time, that has a domino effect in terms of outcomes.
It did for Rena Ruparelia, who started having spots on her skin at age 14.
I was so distraught seeing all these marks all over my body, and he was like, oh, don't worry, you have chicken pox. But then 2 weeks later, as I mentioned, as everything started growing, getting silver and scaling, I went back in a panic.
Turns out her symptoms were actually psoriasis. She manages her condition well now, but she does have scars on parts of her body.
So a lot of people of color, again, will have deeper, darker scars, but finding the right treatment, like I said, takes down the itching and the discomfort.
And the chances of permanent damage. As the new AbbVie chair in ethnodermatology, Dr. Marissa Joseph hopes to make changes firstly in medical education.
Ethnodermatology really looks at the way that diseases affect people of different skin tones, ethnic backgrounds, communities, and how those differences influence the way we diagnose skin disease, treatment, and most importantly, outcomes.
But she also wants to consider the social determinants of skin health, language, where you live, cultural differences, and more.
Toronto is arguably one of the most diverse cities in the world, incredibly multicultural, and our medical education and research needs to reflect the patients we actually care for.
And she hopes the research into ethnodermatology will help not just Canadians, but people around the world. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Researchers at the U.S. and Australia say they may have identified a promising new way to diagnose and treat depression at its earliest stages. A team at the University of Minnesota gathered brain scans and blood samples from patients aged 18 to 25 who'd been diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Scientists at the Queensland Brain Institute then analyzed the data, and they say they spotted an unexpected pattern. Brain and blood cells in those young adults produced more energy when at rest, but then had trouble stepping up that production when under stress. The researchers say these findings suggest it's the struggle to cope with increased energy demand that could be leading to low mood, reduced motivation, and slower cognitive function. The findings were published in the journal Translational Psychiatry.
Bike Share Toronto says it's adding more e-bikes and charging docks to meet increased demand in the city. The agency says there was a 40% increase in ridership last year compared to 2024. There was also a 10% increase in total rides, with 231,000 people using the system for the first time in 2025. During a presentation to the Toronto Parking Authority yesterday, BikeShare says 200 new e-bikes, 350 charging docks, 1,200 new solar stations, and 750 regular bikes are being added to the city's network.
After the break, at first it may look like an accident, but further digging reveals it was staged. How fake insurance claims are driving up premiums.
Canada's trade deficit with the world widened by more than $2 billion between the end of 2025 and the start of 2026. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez looks at the numbers. Or we're going to move to another story. New numbers from Stats Canada shows exports of vehicles and auto parts hit a multi-year low. Exports dropped just over 21% to $5.4 billion in January. The numbers have not been that low since September of 2021. Exports of passenger cars and light trucks went up more than 32% in January, while overall U.S. trade dipped 3.8%.